Hello and welcome to Arreva Academy Online Administration webinar. My name is Manny and I'll be your trainer for today's session, How to Set Up Your Guest Stay Request webpage. As a reminder, we're recording today's session and will be available for viewing in about 2 to 3 days on the website. You can find these recorded sessions by headed to arreva.com, selecting Services in the main menu, then selecting Academy from the drop-down menu. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So as we said, we're going to be working through setting up a guest stay request page. And to start this process, we're going to go ahead and start within your Exceed Further database. The important thing to note is that the majority, almost all of the values that we're going to be looking at while we're setting that form up are coming directly from your database side. So just to quickly take a look, when you select on your name in the top right, you click on administration, you scroll down, and under guest, under your code section, you're going to go ahead and see all the different codes for your guest stay requests. These codes, like I said, majority of them are being used on the online side. So like medical facility, diagnosis, ethnicity, social worker dropdowns we're looking at are all coming from the code section here. With the code section, it's just as simple as clicking on the code you're looking for, clicking the plus sign to add a new one, or double clicking to edit an existing one, which works great. All right, so that is very important as, again, that's where the majority of those codes are going to be coming from. So you need to add a new one, you need to adjust the spelling on one or change the way it looks. Just remember to go ahead and update it right here. The next thing we're going to go ahead and look at is there are special user-defined fields that we can set up and ask to the individuals who are signing up on the guest stay request forms. Those user-defined fields can appear in 3 different sections: under the patient section, under the guest section, and under the additional information section, as we call it on the online form side. Those user-defined fields, you set them up under the customized page layout. And as we scroll through here, it is the guest patients, that is going to be the patient user-defined fields. Occupants is for the guests, and the add edit is for that additional information area. So when we just quickly click in one and say go, you will see user-defined fields are distinguished with the diamond on the left-hand side. They can be edited if you have any existing ones by just quickly selecting the diamond. It'll bring you right into edit mode, as well add in any new additional ones, like new questions you guys need to ask that aren't currently being asked on your form. Simply add the user-defined field here. As well, it is important to note that if you do want to drag it on over into column 1 or 2, that is going to display internally for you guys as well when you're reviewing this data inside the database. Always remember, even if you do not show the user-defined field, you can always still pull a report on it, which is important to note. All right, awesome. So that is the user-defined fields and the codes that we're going to be really taking a look at here in a second. The next thing to review is when these guest stay requests get fed into the database, they come in through the online transaction section, and from the online transaction section, they get imported in and they end up directly in your guest request list here on the left-hand side under your guest manager. So just remember that. And again, we're going to have our next Arreva Academy is going to be covering how to import those guest requests in from this direct form we're going to create today. All right, so to access the online side now and go ahead and start creating our form, we're just going to simply click right on online administration. And as soon as we do, it's going to bring us to the sign in page, which we can go ahead and sign in. And as soon as we sign in, it's going to bring us directly back to the online transaction summary area. So a lot of you guys should be familiar with this. Then right on the left-hand side here, as we scroll down, we're going to focus specifically on the hospitality web pages today. So we click right on hospitality, click right on guest stay request form, and it's going to bring us over to our guest stay request form pages. Here, the important thing to note is that this big visit public page button is your guys' main guest stay request form. If you wanted to set up additional guest stay requests, one for guests only, one for social workers, one for staff members, or different houses, different facilities, we've seen orgs do that, no problem at all. The additional forms will appear down here, any that you create to access, but always remember the main kind of general one you're going to set up is located right under this visit public page. You just simply click right on it. It'll open up directly to our guest request form onto the public page side. And as we scroll down, we can go ahead and start editing our form and editing our form page right away. So taking a quick look at the form, completely blank, and we're going to go in and really turn on a lot of the settings that we want, adjust some of the user-defined fields, add some of those questions and things like that. Before we move on to the actual form itself, the banner is here. If you guys wanted to switch the banner out, update the text, update any of the wording, you absolutely can on your guys' pages as well. With super admin rights, you can just go ahead and simply click on the three dots, click edit web content. It puts this container into edit mode, and as we scroll down, you will have the image right here that you can switch out. You just simply hit select, drag and drop the new image from your computer, or hit select file. The image size for that banner all the way across is about 1900 pixels across. The height is completely up to you guys. Just remember, the longer you make your image, the more your user has to scroll through that, to get to the form itself. Select publish once you're finished switching the image out, refresh the page, and you will see that new banner appear right away. As well, if you scroll down a little bit more, you would see the text areas as well that you can simply update. All right, as we scroll down, now we have our guest stay request form that we're taking a look at. And to start updating our form, we just simply click right on settings. If you notice, before we get into the form, you will see that these areas are closed. While we're in the form, there will be a option that allows us to say we want number 1 and we want number 2 wide open, and number 3 and number 4 stay closed. It is completely up to you guys. You have a little bit of control over that. So you'll see that option and just kind of, it's important to know what it does. So we simply click on settings. It puts us right into edit mode. And as we scroll down, immediately we can see we have just a big text editor at the top. So this is just a great text area for extra info. A lot of the times we'll see some, if the form is social workers only, then ideally this is a great spot to put that. It really helps drive the understanding that this is a social worker only form. Any guests that stumble across it on their own will, be kind of deterred by the idea that, hey, we put it in nice red text at the top that it's social workers only. So just go ahead and set that up. As we scroll down, you will see this is the section 1, stay request 1 section. As you can see, you can update the titles if you wanted to. So if you needed to adjust the title, the way it's spelled, anything like that, absolutely feel free. And here's that option I was talking about where it is collapsed or expanded. So with stay request section 1, we're going to go ahead and expand it so it can always be open and nice and ready for the user when they come in to fill out the form. As we keep scrolling down, there are now a nice set of options for that stay request 1 that we're going to be able to go through and adjust. Again, remember these stay locations are coming from that code section we looked at earlier. So if you need to adjust the spelling, like I said, or add a new one or anything like that, absolutely do it in the code section. It'll appear here. And then the important thing to note is this little plus sign magnifying glass here is what allows us to show which ones we want to the public, because you guys may have some that you only use internally. Absolutely wonderful, and you just want to select the ones that you guys want to show. Great, so you can simply go ahead and check the ones that you want on. You can set a default if you want. So if you go, the usual choice is going to be South. Wonderful, you can set that as a default. They will be able to select from the other 2 choices. If you wanted them to force a choice, you can leave it blank, meaning they have to select the location, but there isn't one set there automatically for them. All right, just different things that can work differently for you guys. All right, max number of occupants there, you guys can update. The default request completed by is an important one, depending if this is a social worker only form, guest form, staff form. It gives the ability for them to select that as they're filling out the form itself. We're going to go ahead and say this form is for everybody, so we'll just make sure all 3 are showing. As you can see, all 3 are checked. Perfect, good to go. The social worker dropdown is another one that is coming from the code section in the database side. So any social workers you have added there will show up in this dropdown that you can go ahead and make a selection on the form itself. So we'll leave that one on. That's absolutely great as well. You have some other nice options such as staff, social worker, alternate email, or alternate phone if they want to kind of change it or put in a different one. It gives you guys the ability to accept that as well. As we keep going down, we are heading into the patient section now. So as we get through the patient section, again, the same thing, the title can be changed, some text underneath can be changed if needed, and we can add additional, guidance text if we want. But as we keep going down, you're gonna see here are all the options for that patient section. So the ability to hide ethnicity or make it mandatory. Completely up to you guys. We've seen some organizations absolutely need this. Others go, no way, no how. We don't want to ask that question. We just want to hide it. Options there for you guys to set on your form. You can see those ethnicities again are coming from your code section, plus sign, checkbox to show which ones you want. So just remember that's going to work the same everywhere throughout the form, which is great. Same goes with diagnosis. If we want to make that a mandatory option, default facility, we can go ahead and set one. So that way it's already set by default if it is a normal one that's usually selected. And then as we keep going down, we have those patient user-defined fields we were talking about earlier. So these are all extra questions that can be asked and of course then imported into the database side for you guys. Where you drag those in those columns in the database is where they're going to show when you're taking a look at the record and things like that. And like I said, they'll always be appearing in your guys' columns and in reporting needs as well. User-defined fields in reports are defined with a -UDF. So it's very clear which one's a user-defined field. So you can see all the user-defined fields you have set up will show here. And then as an admin, we can just go through and say, you know what, we want all of these on and we want them all to be mandatory. Absolutely great. So we'll turn all of them on and we'll leave that one optional since it's an other question, which is great. So keep on going down. We're now heading to the guest section. I just want to make sure I didn't collapse that. Perfect. So now we're heading to the guest section. This is going to be for the guest information fill out. Same thing here, relationship to patient, coming from your code section. So again, if you wanted to show certain relationships, but have some in the back in your database that you guys only use internally, no problem. Just checkbox the ones that you want on. Again, if you need to add new ones, no problem at all. You can just do it right in that code section. As we keep going down, you're going to see you have your different options. Guest email, we can force it and make it mandatory. Same with type of email and phone number, date of birth, and certain questions like that. A lot of the time on the type questions, these are questions for database needs, which is type of email, home email. We could set a default and hide these as well, just to save an extra question that's not really needed sometimes. Works great from a database admin standpoint, wonderful when you get these extra different types. But a lot of the time, it's absolutely perfect and acceptable. If it's a social worker only form to say they're not going to know the type, it's absolutely fine to default it to home. All right, as we keep going down, again, different options that we can turn off. Home phone is one that we have seen that orgs have wanted hidden. Again, cell phone will be a question on the form. It's mandatory, it's there, it's nothing we can turn off. So that one's already there. But the home phone question has been asked to be able to be hidden. So we can simply hide home phone. A lot of people aren't having one nowadays. They just use a cell phone number. It saves an extra field on the form that's not needed sometimes. Date of birth, same thing. We can make it mandatory if needed for background checks and things like that. County as well has been a big one that is needed to be mandatory. So again, absolutely go ahead and make it mandatory on your guys' form if needed. As we keep going down, you have your vehicle information, vehicle model. These will fill in the direct vehicle information questions within your database today. So those some questions you guys may have been using or you're going to start using, they will update them when coming in from an online form. So we can just go ahead and show all of them. We won't make them mandatory and you'll kind of see how it works on the public side of things. Again, down below the guest request questions, we immediately come to the guest UDFs, and this gives us the ability, again, to ask those extra questions. If we're not already asking them, we absolutely can in a user-defined field. Those user-defined fields, as you've seen, different types of questions. It can be checkbox, it can be drop down, it can be a big open text box if you want as well. Many different question choices for those user-defined fields. So again, we'll go ahead and turn all these on. We'll leave these optional on the guest side. And these user-defined fields do get asked for each guest. So if they fill in 2 guests, add a guest and add the second guest gets to answer those extra user-defined fields as well. All right, wonderful. Last but not least is our additional information section. So we'll just go ahead and show that one as well and expand it. And then down below, we can go ahead and you can see those user-defined fields coming from that stay, add, edit section. So again, just simply hide, show which ones that you guys want. And maybe we'll just turn a few on here and we can go ahead and make them mandatory, which is wonderful. All right, so that is pretty much it coming down to our step 4 now. And as we go down to the bottom, there are just a last couple steps here. Last one being, this is our comment section. So if you just want to change the title, gives you that ability. Comment feeds into the notes section for the request itself. And then last but not least, we have our confirmation message. That confirmation message you're going to see is when I set this to show, when we click submit on the form, there is a little pop-up box that's going to come up. That pop-up box, we get to control when we enable this section here, and we can change the wording in the text. It works really well as a terms of service type of thing, where, by selecting OK, they're agreeing to everything you put in the messaging. All right, works really great there. We can enable CAPTCHA. We can send notification to guest email if we want. Sometimes on the social worker side of things, it's not needed at all when signing up for the request, so can be turned off. Send notification to social worker. As well, we also have the on success redirect, meaning when somebody successfully completes this form, they will then be redirected to this page, whatever we type in there. A lot of the times you guys can send them to packet information if they need to. If they need to fill out any additional forms, you can send them that way. Sometimes we've seen orgs set up special thank you pages you can send them to as well. Again, that has maybe special information directly for that registrant, that request. All right, great. So we'll just turn that off for now. And then we're just going to simply go ahead and say save. Once we say save, any updates we've made to the form will have processed, and you're going to see right away when we just quickly look, immediately that form has changed a little bit already. When we take a look at our patient section and our different sections here, we will be able to see our different user-defined fields as well as our vehicle information questions that we're seeing. So working great, and basically questions are on, and we can go ahead and take a look at this form on the public side in a second here. So before we do though, we're just gonna go back into settings on the form, and we're just gonna quickly take a look at the notifications that are sending out. So as soon as you click settings in that form specifically, you'll have notifications on the left-hand side here. You click on notifications, and here it will show you the notifications that are sent in when an individual signs up on the form, as well the notifications that are sent in to you guys at the admin email. Also gives you the ability to update those admin emails on who these notifications are going to. So again, the guest stay request 1, this will be, it goes to the guest 1, right? So whoever signs up on guest 1, if it's social workers filling it out, if you guys enable that email, then this notification will be sent out to that guest. Works great and gives you guys the ability to customize it with any of these additional fields from down below if needed. The other important one is to the social worker themselves. And then again, the most important one is the one to you guys, the request to admin here. So this is the one that gets sent directly to you guys at the organization. And if you need to send it to other individuals, you can by just typing in their email addresses with no comma, no spaces, and you can add as many as you like to this form. So that way, if, hey, I have 3 individuals that need to receive this form only, none of the others. Absolutely no problem. You get them in here on the admin side, they will only get this guest request admin email. The other nice thing on the admin email is we have seen organizations, houses that need a still kind of printed copy of the request that comes in online. So when a social worker or a guest fills that request out, this information that gets emailed to you guys as an admin has basically every single thing that the individual filled out. It can be used then from a print directly from email, and then you guys can use it to file away in files and things like that if you need. So works wonderful in that regards. And as I said, every single item that they filled out on the form will appear in the email to you guys in that admin email. It can also be changed. If you want to remove a lot of that information, you absolutely can as well. Again, you can see here, just simple WYSIWYG editor that you guys have control over. Feel free to get in there and adjust anything to your liking. All right, once you're done making changes to those notifications, you simply hit save. The next notification to go out will have all the updated changes that you guys have set. All right, now what we're gonna go ahead and do is just quickly take a look at our form as a logged out user. If you are working in an admin mode, a nice way and kind of a nice tip and trick is if you use a private window or an incognito window in Google Chrome, it will save you from having to sign out and sign back in when doing a request or doing a setup on a form, donate forms, guest forms, any of them. So that way you can kind of take a look at it in the private window, lowercase it or exit out of it, and then go back to making your changes right away. So you can see here, this is our finalized form now and kind of what we've done to it. So right away, you can see we have that stay location defaulted to south. We have our social worker drop down with every social worker showing, our couple additional questions here, our patient section with our user-defined fields showing all the questions we were asking. They are all set to mandatory as you remember, so they get that nice little asterisk there. add another patient, you will see each individual patient, patient 1 and 2, gets those questions asked, which is very nice. Same thing goes with the guest information side. You can see here, this is guest information section 3, that vehicle information that we were checking out. They will just be able to check the box, fill in that vehicle information. It will make sure to update their record directly in your guys' database immediately. See those user-defined fields, again, specific now to the guests themselves, which is fantastic, along with all those mandatory fields that we set, such as county, I believe, yeah, it was county, email that we'll need for background check and all that great stuff there. Down below that is our last but not least, our additional information section with our special questions that we asked. I've also seen this additional information section used with no questions at all and just a lot of informational text for the individuals filling out the form. Works great both ways. All right, and then last but not least, our notes section. Good to go there. The individual will be able to hit submit. Notifications will go out. And as I said, you will then see that guest stay request, that request that comes in will be located, and you will see it as a GR1, GR2 located in the online transactions area to be imported and matched in. Check out our next Arreva Academy, which, like I said, will be going over that import matching process. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day. If you guys have any questions, concerns, or need any assistance on setting these forms up, absolutely make sure to reach out to us at support@arreva.com. Thanks, everyone.